Hi everyone, I'm Shazia from eStore Media, and today I'll be talking to you about why you don't need another business analyst to drive growth on Amazon. One of the most common topics that I speak to my customers about, and having an insight background, I actually speak to a lot of customers on a regular basis to kind of get a feel and understand, what are the pain points that my customers are having when it comes to working with Amazon and driving growth. And we actually found that the problem is actually a lot more closer to home than actually thought out in the first place. Brands have so much data, but they struggle to choose, the actions that make the biggest impact. And in most cases, what usually happens is, brands that have their hands tied in terms of, the number of priorities that they have versus, the number of people in the teams. We've also seen, with e-commerce becoming more embedded into the organizational strategy, sometimes the skills and the people are not necessarily matched up or synchronized to be able to support the ecosystem of driving e-commerce, of driving an e-commerce strategy or driving on Amazon. And essentially what that drills down to is it becomes more difficult for brands and teams to be able to identify what are the opportunities and priorities, the size of the prize, to be able to really make a difference and really push ahead with online growth. Alternatively, what we've also seen is that by the time that brands do have access to the data or have the data in a way that they're actually being able to read it, the actionable insights are then already too late. So again, really thinking about, what is it that we can do to really put our fingers on the pulse, to really push and identify the opportunities for brands to make the brands' lives a little bit easier when it comes to working with data. So don't forget, guys, data is your friend, and we should always be looking at opportunities of using data to help paint the most visual picture for us to be able to really help prioritize our actions. Now, I'd like to introduce you today to Anna and the brand wide team. Now, Anna actually embodies a typical customer or a typical client that is using and working with Amazon on a daily basis, and typically has her hands tied in terms of, she's not able to increase her headcount, whereas her boss has actually set her let's say a rather ambitious growth target ahead of Prime Day. So she's saying, she can increase the headcount, she has limited budget, she's managing more than one account, and she's pretty much thinking, how do I actually achieve this growth target with all of these internal hurdles that I'm facing? Alternatively, we've also been able to, or let's say on the other hand, we've been able to identify, Amanda's peers who are working in the marketing team, and they're essentially having their own KPIs and being measured based on traffic and conversion rates. And we know that, in our regular meetings that we have with Anna and her team, that, the traffic and conversion is actually tied to the internal bonus structure. So these guys are really hot on making sure that the traffic and conversion are in check. So dealing with all these dynamic or moving parts, it's actually becoming difficult for Anna to identify what she needs to prioritize and what is the size of the opportunity in terms of who she needs to keep happy. Does she want to be prioritizing the sales and share, or pumping in money into investments for sponsored campaigns? It's really becoming difficult for brands and for teams such as Anna's to really figure out what is the size of the prize if I let's say enter into a promotion with Amazon or do I actually invest in a paid campaign. So when we speak to Anna and many teams such as Anna's, one of the key foundations of understanding how to drive performance on Amazon as well as other digital shelves, it's about understanding the flywheel. Now, the winning formula for brands essentially is one of the flywheels that was presented by Chris Perry, and it's all about the importance of driving the search rank and the visibility in the search. In order to do that, you need to make sure that you have the relevant category keywords, that you've incorporated them, that you're indexing very highly so that you get the traffic. Once you get the traffic and the eyeballs on the page, it's about having the compelling content and the features and benefits that help drive the sales and get you the conversion. So as long as all of this is all working in harmony, you're spinning the flywheel. Amazon will push you up higher in the search rank, which will then help you fuel the flywheel to get more sales, and then again helping you, making sure that you are driving or spinning this flywheel. But what was actually happening with Anna and her team was the flywheel's nemesis. Now this is the flywheel in reverse. And what we've seen with Anna and her team is that she was actually looking at a decline in sales and share. What she'd noticed was that there was a drop in orders due to availability issues. There was a fluctuation in terms of her average selling price, and key competitors were outperforming in the category. This then had a knock-on effect into her search and seller rankings. So there was limited visibility on the first page due to the availability issues and having lost the buy box. The traffic and conversion guys were not happy because the conversion rates for top ASINs were in decline, which meant that they were probably not going to get their bonus this year. And then it was, working with Amazon was not becoming so enjoyable as Amazon started removing the listings and items started to become crapped, and margins were then effectively being impacted. So what do you do when you are having a situation where your flywheel is being reversed? You've got Prime Day coming around the corner. You've got your boss on your shoulders who's actually looking for you to grow faster in the category. I'd actually like to share a case study with you where we were able to leverage the Amazon Navigator and using the AI to help brands identify where they should prioritize and what are the opportunities available to them. So when Anna logs in on a Monday morning, she has access to her executive summary report. Now this gives her a really good idea of what's actually happening in the category and how she can kind of benchmark herself and look at the kind of category performance in one view. So you can see here for brand Y, things aren't looking too great. We can see a lot of red. It seems to be they seem to be not growing in line with the category. The category has been growing at a positive percent, 16%. Then we can see here that brand Y actually had a negative drop in sales of 8%. If we have a look at where they are in terms of the category, once the category leaders, are kind of slowly slipping behind now. You can see that being translated into the negative market share versus the previous quarters. Also having a look at the previous year, we're also seeing that there is a slight decline. Now, Anna being quite prudent and wanting to make sure that she's actually got her eyes on the prize and making sure she's on top of her Amazon account with her boss, what we can see here again, it's not looking good. Being one of the top brands in the category and now slipping behind and actually having a negative sales growth, this is a time where Anna now has to intervene to really understand what she needs to do to get her sales performance back on course. The traffic and conversion team or the marketing team are also suffering on the other side and constantly asking Anna and her team, what do we need to do to fix traffic and conversion? Is this a great time to start investing in paid media strategies and investing in keywords to help us fuel the flywheel again to get those sales up and running? Or is it an issue of content? Do we need to start looking at and revamping the content that we have on our product display pages to try to get the add to the basket? So again, too many priorities, not really sure what to focus on. So back onto Slido, #AMZ. What do you think Anna should do to improve sales and share? Do you think she should invest in paid campaigns, review pricing, review her JBP with Amazon, fix content issues, or improve forecasting and supply chain activities? So over to Slido, guys. Okay, interesting. So we've got improved forecasting and supply chain activities leading. Almost a tie with the content issues. Okay, so I think we'll close that in there. This is a perfect scenario, a perfect concoction of what actually happens when brands are trying to figure out what to prioritize. So you can see here the dynamics are changing all the time. The majority of you are thinking that maybe a content strategy will help the brand get back on track and into the green and out of the red, and maybe looking at improving forecasting and supply chain activities. So from a top line level, this is essentially where the Amazon Navigator, our own virtual analyst, who's powered by AI, can actually come in and help you understand what to fix and what to prioritize. So she works at lightning speed to find your top sales opportunities. So it's perfect for when there's too many moving parts, and we know Amazon is a beast in its own right, and trying to figure out what to fix and what is actually going to give me the biggest opportunity and what is going to make the biggest impact of getting me out of the red and putting me back into the green, to help me reach my sales target. So luckily for the team, they actually have an AI-powered virtual analyst with years of experience on the team to give her an action-ready to-do list prioritized by products with the biggest sales potential, saving her days of analysis. She's not just there on her own. She has years and years of experience, and she's looking at the same depth of data for sales and share for every product in the category, not just for your own data. She then populates a list of quick wins that will instantly drive results. We have the widest possible range of automated analytics to monitor 3P sales, avoid crap, and win the buy box. So essentially, if we get to know Amanda, the world's virtual analyst, we can actually see that she's a genius mathematician. She's single, she is addicted to detail, she lives on the internet, has decades of science behind her, and she gets smarter every second. So being an AI-powered machine, the longer she is with you, the smarter she'll get. So one of the most strongest members of the team any day. So when we have the virtual analyst on our side, she can actually help us break down, all these moving parts and help us quantify what to fix first. So the analyst is able to identify the total opportunity, and that's in a dollar value. She's also identified the number of products and the number of actions that we need to do as a team to kind of realize this opportunity of $952,000. We can identify here that from the biggest levers that we have, so the buy box, conversion, and traffic, we can see that the buy box is one of the biggest issues. So those guys who voted for the supply chain and the buy box, that was correct. Essentially, what we can do here is then we can go back to Anna and her team, and she's then able to prioritize and say, right, buy box is actually the issue that I need to focus on, and then I can think about looking at traffic and conversion as a second and a third priority. So having the navigator do the hard work for me and telling me where to focus. So with the help of the Amazon Navigator, we were able to identify that there was actually an issue with the buy box, and with this actually gives rise to the buy box hacker. Now, the buy box hacker was actually identified using our 3P seller analytics, and we were able to break down and deep dive into who is actually selling Anna's products on a regular basis and is taking away her sales. So we were able to identify Acme Acoustics, and it was this he's actually a seller who's based in Santa Monica, has great ratings and reviews, and is an avid seller, an expert sales manager who buys up the stock and sells it cheap on Amazon. So we were able to really break down and get into the sort of under the hood to really figure out what the issue was with the buy box. Now, when looking into the buy box champion reports, I can actually identify that the availability issues were one of the most common issues, or one of the biggest issues that Anna and her team were facing. It was actually a feeding ground for 3Ps, and what we can see here is a list of ASINs, or a breakdown of Anna's assortment and the availability, and how much of an issue the buy box and the crap risk was actually causing a problem to some of her key ASINs. So you can see here that when she's losing the buy box, so we were also estimating the value in dollars of how much she was actually losing as she was not able to maintain the availability levels, and we were also capturing the pricing that the third party was also offering and was able to sell that product at a cheaper rate than Anna it was as a brand supplying first party to Amazon. So the rise of the buy box hijackers actually showed an underlying problem for the brand. So not only was it about identifying and sort of going after Acme Acoustics, it was actually a problem that was happening. You know, he was just one of the sellers that was actually able to kind of hijack the buy box as a result of, you know, some of the issues that the brands were facing. So what we can see here is the first party sales split versus the third party, and you can see here that although it might be a very small percentage of sales, slowly that is actually going to be represent a real problem for the brand. And you can see here that one of the core issues as we are collecting pricing information was the price erosion and the buy box. So an indication here that the tightening up of the distribution was required because the average price was pretty much all over the place, which meant that, you know, losing the buy box and not being able to have a profitable relationship with Amazon, which then meant that the flywheel was then significantly impacted with, you know, Amazon pulling them from search and not being able to then, you know, leverage any of the perks that Amazon that you have and doing business with Amazon, which then meant that slowly items were then moving to the crap list. Similarly, what was actually happening was not just on Amazon alone. The brand was actually not able to synchronize the deals across the various channels. So a typical example of what was happening was when promotions were actually occurring outside of Amazon, Amazon was price matching them anyway, which then meant that not only were you having lower prices on Amazon and regular promotions, you were kind of offering triple or double, you know, double to quadruple promotions on Amazon as a result of all the promotional activities that were happening outside of Amazon. So one of the impacts that has is the availability issues, because of course the 3P sellers then go on and jump off the let's say the leakage and then buy up all the stock very cheaply, sell it on Amazon a few months later very cheap, winning the buy box and fueling the negative or the flywheel nemesis. So really, as brands, really do watch out for the various promotions that can actually trigger this kind of race to the bottom effect. Now, the traffic and conversion team came in and we're also asking about what do we actually need to prioritize in terms of, you know, what do I actually need to invest my spending on? Is it the traffic that I need to drive, or is it the conversion? So going in and looking at a traffic and conversion reports within the Amazon Navigator was actually able to break down and identify where the opportunities are and what you need to do. So we can see here that we had actually with the ability of data visualization, we were able to actually identify the size of the prize of being able to either improve your traffic or improve your conversion, or not do nothing at all. So you can see here that, you know, the quick wins are the ones that have great conversion but low traffic, which means that they would have to, the action would be to invest in a paid keyword strategy, or do we need to focus on, you know, the rising stars where the traffic is great but the conversion is not that great? So we need to be thinking about creating, you know, captivating content that is enticing the shopper to add to the basket. Again, the Amazon Navigator makes it really easy for us to be able to identify where the opportunities are and keeping a close eye on all your assortment and making sure that, you know, you're not having too many of those of those sort of falling down in terms of traffic and conversion. The ability to have all of this on not only just on a graph, but also being able to export these lists and share them with your wider teams, with your content teams, your traffic and keyword specialists, you're able to prioritize these based on the biggest opportunity. So again, going in to the tool and being able to identify, okay, what do I actually need to do, and on which specific ASINs am I actually going to have the biggest impact? That's where we're able to use the AI to really identify and represent the size of the prize, and by doing the suggested actions. So by adding in bullet points, keywords, or checking your pricing for certain ASINs will really help you identify, you know, what needs to be done and the dollar value associated with doing these various actions. The AI identifies gaps based on best in category performance. So when we're looking at giving the suggestions, the Amazon Navigator gives you suggestions based on the best sellers in the category. So when you're looking at, for example, adding in bullet points, which represents 83% of the total opportunity, we're actually not looking at the AI is not just having a look at, do you have bullet points, yes or no? It's giving you the suggestion based on the best performing ASINs in that category. So everybody's looking to looking at, the best in class examples. The Amazon Navigator and the AI behind it is fueling that, is helping fuel that through these suggested actions, and making sure that all the ASINs where there are gaps and leakages are actually being able to leverage the AI that we have and really pump in the best in class KPIs here to really try and maximize the sales opportunities based on the ASINs that require the push. Now, here's an example of the plugin content that we're able to use based on the Amazon Navigator. So the Amazon Navigator told us, for example, that the keywords that we're missing, are actually and represent the biggest opportunities within that category need to be plugged in. So it's a great example of how your content teams can go away and use these keywords and use the hard work that was done by the analyst, and really go in and start to pump these into your content to help you drive the traffic. And the same thing is with the conversion driving techniques as well. So really doing the hard work for you, not having to figure out what kind of keywords do we need to add in. It's all done for you. And that is why the Amazon Navigator drives success. It's designed to prioritize actions in a complex environment. So if you're thinking about, getting competitors' SKUs versus your own SKUs in the category benchmarking, it's all there to help you drive the actions. It's built with brand processes in mind. So we're here to really help you get the actionable insights in knowing what to do and helping you prioritize what matters most based on the dollar value. It's built with strong data models. So we're looking at blending internal and external data to really help drive the accuracy, as well as the AI, which is always constantly in training mode and is getting better and better over time. We leverage over 25 parameters used in the algorithm to really ensure that we are giving you the best in class insights, as well as the actions, and to help you prioritize and really drive the dollar value to really help push your sales opportunities on Amazon. And it's great because our customers are loving the feedback. So we've got here some of the feedback that I've shared, that we were able to share with you today. We've got this electronic brand saying that, I have to say I fell in love with the Amazon virtual assistant. We've got some really good positive feedback to say that it's easy to use. It breaks down a lot of the time, as well as makes it really easy and insightful to use and to get to the data. So guys, data is your friend. Don't be afraid to leverage the AI and algorithms to really help you make those opportunities, to help you prioritize those opportunities on Amazon. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.